December 5, 1945. The Second World War has just ended. Across the United States, military bases are returning to routine training missions. At a naval air station in Florida, 5 American torpedo bombers prepare for what should be a simple exercise over the Atlantic Ocean. The squadron is called Flight 19. 14 trained crew members, 5 TBM Avenger aircraft. Their mission is routine. Fly east over the Atlantic, conduct a navigation exercise, and return to base. The weather is calm. Visibility is good. Nothing about the day suggests anything unusual is about to happen. At 2:10 p.m., the aircraft lift off from the runway and head out across the water. For the first hour, everything proceeds exactly as planned. The pilots complete their training run and begin preparing to navigate back toward Florida. Then, something strange happens. The squadron leader radios the control tower with a message that immediately confuses air traffic operators. His compass is malfunctioning. He cannot determine which direction is west. At first, the ground crew assumes it is a minor equipment issue. But moments later, another message arrives. Now, the pilot says both of his compasses appear to be broken. The pilots are attempting to locate land, but they cannot see the Florida coastline. From the control tower, instructors try to guide the squadron back using radio instructions. But the situation is quickly becoming chaotic. Different pilots begin reporting different positions. Some believe they are over the Florida Keys. Others think they are somewhere over the open Atlantic. Their instruments are giving conflicting information. And the ocean below them suddenly looks unfamiliar. Then the radio transmissions become more disturbing. One of the pilots says something that sends a chill through the control room. Everything looks strange, even the ocean. The experienced instructor leading the mission now sounds unsure of his location. Fuel levels are slowly dropping. The sun is beginning to fall toward the horizon, and the pilot still cannot determine which direction leads back to Florida. As the situation grows more desperate, the control tower instructs the squadron to fly west. If they fly west long enough, they should eventually reach the American coastline. But the pilots hesitate. Their compasses still appear unreliable. If the instruments are wrong, flying west might actually take them deeper into the Atlantic Ocean. The radio chatter becomes tense and fragmented. Pilots begin talking over each other. At one point, the squadron leader suggests they may have accidentally flown over the Gulf of Mexico instead of the Atlantic. But the geography does not make sense. Nothing matches their expected position. Then the signals begin to fade. The final transmissions from Flight 19 are almost impossible to understand. Static fills the radio channels, voices break apart in the noise. And then one last message reaches the control tower. We can't tell where we are. Everything is wrong. Moments later, the signals disappear completely. 5 aircraft, 14 trained airmen, gone. Within minutes, the US Navy launches an emergency rescue mission. A large search aircraft takes off from Florida carrying 13 crew members. Its mission is to locate the missing squadron. But only 20 minutes after takeoff, that aircraft also disappears. 17 aircraft, 27 crew members, vanished within hours. Search teams comb hundreds of miles of open ocean. Ships patrol the waters. Aircraft sweep the skies. But investigators find nothing. No floating wreckage. No oil slick. No emergency signals. Not even a single piece of debris. It is as if the aircraft simply vanished into the sky. The area where these events occurred lies between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, a vast region of the Atlantic Ocean that would soon become famous around the world. Over the following decades, reports of other strange disappearances begin to surface. Cargo ships that never reach their destination, aircraft that vanish from radar without distress calls, vessels discovered drifting across the ocean with no crew aboard. Gradually, the stories begin to form a pattern, and that pattern leads investigators to a single location, a place that would become known as one of the most mysterious regions on Earth, the Bermuda Triangle. But the real question is not simply why Flight 19 disappeared. The real question is this: was their disappearance the result of human error, mechanical failure, or something far more unusual happening in this part of the ocean? Because when researchers began examining the history of the Bermuda Triangle more closely, they discovered something even more disturbing. Flight 19 was not the first disappearance in this region, and it would not be the last. To understand the full mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, we must look back at other ships and aircraft that vanished here long before that December afternoon in 1945, because hidden within those earlier incidents may be the first clues to one of the most enduring mysteries of the modern world. Long before the disappearance of Flight 19 shocked the world, the waters of the Bermuda Triangle had already developed a dark reputation among sailors. Stories circulated quietly through shipping routes and naval reports. Stories of vessels that entered the region and never came back. One of the most disturbing cases occurred decades before Flight 19. In March of 1918, a massive cargo ship belonging to the United States Navy set sail from Brazil toward Baltimore. The ship was called the USS Cyclops. At the time, it was one of the largest vessels in the American naval fleet, more than 540 feet long and capable of carrying thousands of tons of cargo. On board were 309 crew members and passengers. The ship was transporting manganese ore, a critical material used for steel production during World War I. After leaving the Caribbean, the Cyclops transmitted a routine message. Everything appeared normal. The weather was calm, the ship was on schedule, and then the communication stopped. No distress signal, no warning, no final message. The USS Cyclops simply disappeared somewhere in the waters of the Bermuda Triangle. When the ship failed to arrive in Baltimore, the United States Navy launched one of the largest search operations of the era. Dozens of ships scanned the ocean and aircraft searched from the air, but the results were deeply unsettling. No wreckage, no lifeboats, no debris of any kind. The largest loss of life in the history of the US Navy not related to combat had occurred without a single explanation. To this day, the fate of the USS Cyclops remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries ever recorded. But the strange incidents did not end there. In 1948, a British passenger aircraft known as the Star Tiger vanished while flying across the Atlantic. The aircraft was traveling from the Azores toward Bermuda. On board were 31 passengers and crew. Weather conditions were stable. The pilot was experienced. Everything seemed routine. Then, shortly before reaching its destination, the aircraft transmitted a final message confirming its position. Minutes later, the Star Tiger disappeared from radar. No wreckage was ever recovered. Just 1 year later, another aircraft from the same airline vanished along a nearby route. This one was called the Star Ariel. Again, the aircraft was flying in clear weather. Again, the crew reported no problems. And again, the plane disappeared completely. No distress call, no debris, nothing. As investigators reviewed these incidents, a troubling pattern began to emerge. Ships and aircraft were not simply crashing. They were vanishing without leaving the kind of evidence normally found after maritime or aviation accidents. In many cases, there were no emergency transmissions, no floating wreckage, no oil slicks. For a region crossed daily by commercial shipping lanes and aircraft routes, this pattern seemed almost impossible. But perhaps the most eerie reports came from pilots who had actually flown through the Bermuda Triangle and survived. Some described strange visual phenomena. Others reported navigation instruments behaving unpredictably. A few pilots claimed their compasses began spinning wildly while flying through certain areas of the region. In some reports, pilots described seeing strange clouds or fog formations that appeared suddenly and distorted visibility. These stories were difficult for scientists to verify, but they continued appearing in aviation reports and pilot testimonies. And gradually, the Bermuda Triangle gained a reputation unlike any other location on Earth. To some observers, the region appeared almost supernatural, a place where ships could disappear, where aircraft could vanish mid-flight, where the ocean seemed capable of swallowing entire vessels without leaving a trace. By the 1960s, newspapers and magazines around the world began publishing dramatic stories about the Bermuda Triangle. The public imagination exploded with theories. Some people believed the disappearances were caused by alien technology. Others suggested time warps or hidden energy fields beneath the ocean. But scientists approached the mystery very differently, because for every unexplained disappearance, there had to be a logical explanation. And when researchers began studying the geography and environment of the Bermuda Triangle more closely, they discovered something important. This region of the Atlantic Ocean is far more dangerous than most people realize. Powerful ocean currents, like the Gulf Stream, flow through these waters. Sudden violent storms can form with little warning, and beneath the surface lies a complex landscape of deep trenches and underwater mountains, conditions that can make rescue operations extremely difficult and can quickly hide any evidence of a wreck. But some scientists believe there may be an even more unusual natural phenomenon involved, one capable of affecting ships, aircraft, and navigation systems at the same time, a phenomenon hidden deep beneath the ocean floor. To understand that possibility, we need to look beyond the legends and examine the science behind one of the most dangerous regions of the Atlantic Ocean. Because the true explanation for the Bermuda Triangle may not be supernatural at all. It may be hidden in the powerful natural forces that shape our planet. For decades, the Bermuda Triangle captured the imagination of the world. Stories of vanished ships, aircraft that disappeared without warning, compasses spinning wildly, pilots describing strange clouds that seemed to distort reality. To many people, the region felt almost supernatural. But scientists approached the mystery with a different question. What if the Bermuda Triangle is not supernatural at all? What if the real danger lies in the powerful natural forces hidden beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean? One of the most intriguing theories involves something known as methane hydrate. Deep beneath the ocean floor, enormous deposits of frozen methane gas exist inside layers of sediment. Under certain conditions, these deposits can suddenly become unstable. When that happens, massive amounts of methane gas can erupt violently from the seabed. When methane rises through the water, it forms huge bubbles, and those bubbles dramatically reduce the density of the water surrounding them. For a ship sailing above such an eruption, the consequences could be catastrophic, because when the density of the water suddenly drops, the ocean can no longer support the weight of the vessel. The ship simply sinks, sometimes in a matter of seconds, with almost no warning. And because methane eruptions release very little debris, the wreckage may sink rapidly to the ocean floor, leaving almost no evidence behind. But methane gas may also affect aircraft flying overhead. If a large methane plume rises high enough into the atmosphere, it could disrupt air density and potentially interfere with aircraft engines. Although rare, some researchers believe this phenomenon could explain certain unexplained aviation incidents. Another powerful force exists on the surface of the Atlantic itself. Rogue waves. For centuries, sailors described enormous waves appearing suddenly from calm seas, waves far larger than anything predicted by traditional ocean models. For a long time, scientists believed rogue waves were simply exaggerations, but modern satellite technology has proven that they are real. In fact, some rogue waves can reach heights of more than 30 meters. That is the height of a 10-story building. Imagine a cargo ship encountering such a wave in the open ocean. The impact could be devastating. The vessel could be overturned or broken apart in seconds. And if the ship sank quickly, there might be little time for distress signals. Then there is the powerful ocean current known as the Gulf Stream. This massive river of water flows through the Bermuda Triangle at incredible speed. The Gulf Stream can move faster than many rivers on land. If a ship or aircraft crashes in this region, the current can rapidly carry debris hundreds of miles away, which makes locating wreckage extremely difficult. In many cases, by the time search teams arrive, the evidence may already be gone. But perhaps the most fascinating discovery involves the atmosphere above the Bermuda Triangle. Satellite observations have revealed unusual cloud formations in the region. Some researchers believe these clouds may create sudden and intense air disturbances, short bursts of powerful wind capable of disorienting pilots or damaging aircraft. While these atmospheric events are rare, they demonstrate how complex the environment of the Bermuda Triangle truly is. When scientists combine all of these natural forces, methane eruptions, rogue waves, powerful ocean currents, and unpredictable weather patterns, the mystery begins to look very different. Instead of a supernatural anomaly, the Bermuda Triangle may simply be one of the most challenging and dangerous environments on Earth. A place where powerful natural forces occasionally combine in unexpected ways. But even today, the mystery is not completely solved. Because despite decades of research and modern technology, some disappearances still remain unexplained. The Atlantic Ocean is vast, and much of its depths remain unexplored. Somewhere beneath those waters may lie the wrecks of ships and aircraft that vanished decades ago. Silent evidence waiting to be discovered. Until then, the legend of the Bermuda Triangle continues, a place where history, science, and mystery collide. A region of the ocean where some journeys end without explanation, and where even today, pilots and sailors still glance at their instruments and wonder what secrets might be hidden beneath the dark waters below.